Trey'Dez Green has an elite combination of size, wingspan, and athleticism, making him a matchup nightmare for NFL defenses.
You are Locked On NFL Draft, your daily podcast covering the NFL Draft. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast. I'm Damian Parson, and today's episode is brought to you by Kalshi. For a limited time, download the Kalshi app. Use the code Locked On to get up to $500 in bonus credits when you trade $25. And I'm breaking down on today's episode Trey'Dez Green, tight end for LSU. I'm explaining my grade and give you a comp and tell you why he may compare to a former top 10 pick at the tight end position. Talk about the concerns a little bit later around his NFL draft profile heading into the 2026 college football season. But as always, we start with the pros, and this is a guy that has an elite build in terms of height, wingspan, length, size. Listed at 6'7", 237 pounds, an athletic freak that he is. Trey'Dez Green, coming off of a season last year for LSU, 33 catches, 433 yards receiving, 7 receiving touchdowns. Guys, I can tell you now, I saw him live and in person, up close and personal, when LSU traveled to Clemson, South Carolina to kick off the 2025 college football season last year, scouting in person, and I saw Trey'Dez Green, and he looks every bit of 6'6", 6'7", at the tight end position. He's built like a big, detached X wide receiver. That's the way he's built. And when you talk about the pros and the things that he brings to the table, that elite size of 6'7" with the wingspan or the arm length and the ball skills, right? This is a guy that absolutely can dominate the jump ball, be a jump ball high point specialist, attacks the ball at its highest point. He knows he's Trey'Dez Green he plays like a paint player in the NBA, right? He plays like that guy you just can throw the alley-oops to. That guy you can throw it to in the post, in the paint, and he can make those plays. He can convert at the rim, right? There's so many plays where, like against Clemson last year, and I remember seeing it. I was watching it, right, from the media box, and I remember watching the play live, and I looked at it, and I was like, wait a minute, because I didn't know who he was at the time. I wasn't aware of like he was a tight end. I thought he was a wide receiver. So when I saw that, it was him versus Avion Terrell, right? AJ Terrell's brother, who now joins his brother for the Atlanta Falcons. Avion is like 5'11", right? 5'10", 5'11", I think. And watching him line up in the red zone at the goal line, right inside the 10, one-on-one versus Trey'Dez Green, I'm like, wait a minute, why such the height discrepancy, Clemson? Like, if anything, rotate somebody over there. Like, that's a mismatch in terms of body types. And where did Garrett Nussmeier go with the ball? He threw the 50-50 ball right to Trey'Dez, and Trey'Dez is so good about body positioning. Like a basketball player in the paint, in the post, you're either whether you need to position yourself to get the entry pass in the post or as a rebounder, being able to position yourself to box out your opponent. He's a guy that if he gets a mouse in the house, he wants the football. He's going to put him on the back hip, and he's going to elevate over them and make the play. This guy, and listen, 433 yards isn't anything to just, we're not going to bloviate about. We're not going to be like, oh my God, what an amazing season, right? But it's when you watch the film. The South Carolina game, that was the game where you're like, okay, this is what it looks like when he takes over a game. That's what it looks 100%. Against South Carolina, he was targeted 11 times. So he was 8 of 11, 119 yards. He averaged 15 yards per catch, and he had a receiving touchdown in that game. And then same thing. Red zone, 50-50 ball, like fade, he posts up a 6'2" corner. Right, so I talked about Avion Terrell and how Avion Terrell is like 5'11", 5'10", or whatever. Like he's sub 6'1". I know it for a fact, right? I think he's like 5'11", and he posts him up. I'm like, okay, well, you're 6'7", you should. Well, this corner that he faced against South Carolina, I think he's 6'2", 6'3", and he still posted him up and went over the top and just snatched the ball. Right, for him, it was still a mouse in the house, but you saw that ability. That was the game. Like that's the game. Where as an NFL scout, you get excited about the potential of a player because he absolutely took that game over. Right? That game, the very next game against Vanderbilt, he was very good against Vanderbilt. 5 of 6, 74 yards, almost 15 yards per reception, and a receiving touchdown in that game. Right? He was good against Texas A&M, 6 for 6, 54. Right? So 54. So South Carolina, this is a 3-game stretch. South Carolina, 119 receiving. Vanderbilt, 74 yards receiving. Texas A&M, 6 for 6, 54 yards receiving, 9 yards per reception, a receiving touchdown. Then you go to the bowl game against Houston. He was 4 of 5 for 80 and 2 touchdowns. This like that 6'7" through 237-pound frame, you can isolate him as an outside boundary wide receiver. Like there's a play against South Carolina. He runs a slant, right? So he gets about 2-3 steps upfield, very well tempoed and paced with his route, right? Because I always look to see, okay, are you someone that rushes your route? I want to see the receivers and the quarterbacks, the receivers' route tempo and the quarterbacks drop back in sync because that means we're on time, right? So watching it and you see him well paced with the route, and he plants that outside foot, breaks inside, and he's at a good tempo, good pace, good speed, catches the ball, but that ability, this is where the yak comes in because he's good after the catch. Being able to transition quickly from runner to receiver, he made 2 South Carolina defenders run into each other. He split the 2 defenders once because he caught the ball, secured it, and immediately turned upfield to get yards after the catch. They end up I think it was high-low. One of them tried to dive at Trey'Dez Green's legs, and he took out his teammates' legs, right? So you got 2 defenders running into each other, and he gets yards after the catch. So you got elite ball skills, body control, right, and body positioning in the paint, in the post, in the red zone. But you got ability to create yards after catch. I think he's a 3-level route runner because you're talking about running spot concepts, quick concepts, things of that nature. He can do those things. I feel at 6'7", he drops his hips to drive out of breaks pretty well, to be completely honest. You see some tall guys, they're not able, again, he looks like a big wide receiver at 237, right? I think DK Metcalf is 6'5", 230. I'm just he looks like a big wide receiver, but you see him drop his hips, sink his hips, and get out of the breaks. And it's not a bunch of segmented, delayed, rigid movements. It's 2-3 steps, drop, cut. And it's okay. The way it would look in training when there's no defenders, it looked the same way when there's guys around him. So I think he's a 3-level threat. Again, a lot of the things he brings to the table, man, it's just God-given, right? That red zone weapon, the yak ability. But I'll give him this credit in the run game. He's a good space and perimeter blocker, especially against DBs, safeties, and corners. He's more suited to handle those type of blocks and everything. We'll talk about blocking in kind of a negative standpoint or a concerning standpoint a little bit later, right? Next segment. But for this, I'm giving him credit. He's out there blocking and sealing corners and safeties, even some backers if he can kind of crack down and get to them and things like that. But yeah, in space and on the perimeter, he's good as a run blocker. I like him there, allowing him to get up there to that next level, get out. You're talking about running some toss sweeps or wide zone, and he doesn't have to block a DN or a linebacker. He gets right to that corner, tell the corner, go get the safety. Now you create a seal in the alley, and now you got your running back, just screaming down the sideline for a big play. Trey'Dez Green is an absolute weapon. He is a weapon. Okay, 6'7", 235, 237, almost 240 pounds, right? Good speed, too, right? I think it was, was it A&M where he ran a corner route and he stutter stepped the almost rocker stepped the DB who was flat-footed, and he catches the corner, and then he turns, I might have been South Carolina, and he turns up the field, and you see him start to pull away from a defensive back who's 5-6 inches shorter and probably 20-30 pounds lighter. This dude is an absolute weapon in the NFL, the right NFL offensive mind and play caller and everything else is going to absolutely unleash him. He would be a mismatch nightmare for NFL defenses because you're going to have to put somebody smaller on them because linebackers are not going to be able to do it. And then safeties and corners, they're going to be too small. Yeah, it's going to be mouse in the house situation. An absolute weapon at the tight end position. But coming up next, I'm going to talk about the concerns and why 237 is a big concern for me. That and more coming up next. Before the season even kicks off, everyone's making predictions. Who wins the division? Who makes the playoffs? Who's lifting the trophy at season's end? On Kalshi, America's #1 prediction market platform, you can trade those predictions in a live market. Will the Los Angeles Rams win the Super Bowl this season? Well, the Rams are currently trading at 17%, meaning a $100 trade would pay out $590.25 if they take home the title. On Kalshi, you're trading against peers in the live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position, trade the draft pick, the game, and more on Kalshi. Download the Kalshi app and use the code LOCKEDON to get up to $500 in bonus credits when you trade $25. 18 or older only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Kalshi, products not available in all jurisdictions. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory. Breaking down the concerns of LSU tight end Trey'Dez Green. Again, 6'7", 237 pounds. So let's start there. That's one of my biggest concerns. 237 at tight end in the NFL. It's going to be predictable when you're on the field, right? We're going to have to bulk him up. He's going to need to add some bulk. He's going to need to add some more muscle mass to his frame because 237 is not going to cut it in the run game. So just to show you the concerns, for those watching on YouTube, you know what the concerns are. For those listening, here's the concerns. Inline blocking, needs to bulk up, as I just alluded to, strength at the point of attack. So let's go ahead and talk about those in conjunction. Needing to bulk up, 237. No, can we get to the 245? Right? Can we get to the 250 without sacrificing your speed and the A trait of that pass catching ability? His A trait and his best trait of what he brings as a prospect, it is the pass catching. It's the receiving ability. It's creating that mismatch of lines up at tight end. And let's say you're in base, right? Let's say we come out in 12. For those who don't know what 12 personnel is, that's 2 wide receivers, 2 tight ends, 1 running back, right? Let's say we go single back big. Deuce, we got 2, single back with 2 tights, 2 wide receivers, 12 personnel. But then we motion him out into the slot. That could end up changing the defensive approach and their coverage. They may have to shift and go to more of a zone because if it's man-to-man, now you got a linebacker at, let's say, 6'2", 245, 250 against 6'7", 237. He's going to outrun him. He's going to catch the ball over him. He's going to dominate that rep. But in the run game, that linebacker is going to take him for a ride. That linebacker is going to be able to run through his chest, run through his face, and be able to put pressure on him to have to try and drop his anchor. He already, because of being 6'7", his pad level is already not optimal, right? It's not the best. So you're dealing with that already off the rip. Now you're talking about having guys blitz and attack you. You're not getting up to the second level. And even then, as a run blocker from an inline standpoint or H-back alignment, he struggles with climbing to that second level and just targeting, right? Just targeting, finding the guy and latching on, right? He kind of whiffs on some of those blocks where he misses the initial contact. I want to see him get better in that regard. Again, I look at this young man and I see an absolute playmaker from a receiver standpoint. But the same way we talk about edge rushers and say, hey, you got to earn the right to rush the passer. If you can't stop the run, you're not going to get to the quarterback because they're going to run the ball right through your face time and time again. I think he played linebacker for the Denver Broncos, and his name was DJ Williams. And I was watching a pod where it was him, Roman, Harper, and some other retired NFL players, and they asked him, what was his welcome to the NFL moment? And he said, Lorenzo Neal, the fullback for the Los Angeles Chargers. And he said when he went out on the field, just a quick story, he said when he went on the field, he saw him for the first, he heard all about him. Saw him on the field. He's like, man, this little guy, this you? Like, oh, I'm not worried. And he said, yeah. So he met him in the alley 2 times. And he said back then the Chargers OC, I can't remember, it was Marty Schottenheimer. Can't remember who the play caller was. But they were very prone to, if it's working, we're going to run it again. And they ran power O, power I. And he said that third time, like he tried to take him head on, and Lorenzo Neal put him on his back. You know what I mean? Just dropped him, right? But that was his welcome NFL moment. So when you get to the NFL, yes, teams will absolutely spam. Like, it's not just video gamers doing this stuff. These OCs will absolutely run the same concept. I watched the Patriots run the same, like, halfback dive play a couple years ago, I think it was, against the Miami Dolphins. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was the Dolphins. They just ran the same play over and just ran it right down the field and scored. Like, if they know they can do it, and they know that they can convert it, they're going to do it until you stop it. So that's why, from a run standpoint, that's going to be big. But it's the same thing defensively. If we know you can't, same with that edge rusher, cannot stop the run. He struggles with that. If you struggle to run block, they may not let you on the field in run blocking situation, which then makes the play calling predictable, right? Or if you're on the field, you got to be on the field with a bigger tight end. Let's say, for example, Dalton Kincaid is probably a really good example for this. Dalton Kincaid is not a great blocker. I think he's improved since leaving college, but he's never going to be an outstanding blocker, right? And he's not built for it, but he's a really good pass catcher, right? They also, if I'm not mistaken, I think the Bills drafted Jackson Hawes, who was the big tight end from Georgia Tech, who's an outstanding run blocker, like elite level run blocker. Yeah, you would have to pair Trey'Dez right now with a guy like that. I think he can grow because it's not effort. I think, like I said, it is body type, number one. Like, so the body type is a big problem. But also, it's the strength. I want to see him get stronger, a better anchor, running his feet to move. Again, I said early in the first segment, at the end of the first segment, as a run blocker on the perimeter in space, he's fine. I have no problem with him. Like, safeties, corners, hey, go get him, fella, because he can handle that. I want to really unlock you as a full-time starter and you being the true tight end one. Don't get it twisted. Travis Kelce has been a net neutral run blocker his entire career. He's never been an elite run blocker, right? You will never confuse him in the run game. And as a full, to me, that's why just newsflash, Rob Gronkowski is my number one tight end because he was elite in everything, right? Run after catch, route running, getting open, pass catching, but he was one of the best run blockers of all time. I'll never forget them running halfback wham, and they left Haloti Ngata unblocked, and Rob Gronkowski sealed them. You don't see tight ends doing that. Now, that led to some of the injuries he dealt with because he was such a physical, just brawling player. But yeah, but you look at Travis Kelce, he's never been an elite blocker, but he's been an elite receiving tight end. So yes, you still have that upside, but it takes an offensive play caller like an Andy Reid to truly just be comfortable about what you're going to bring in the run game. Can you be net neutral? That's going to be the question for Trey'Dez Green. And this year, because one thing about Lane Kiffin being the new head coach there, the play caller, all of that, Lane Kiffin always has a run game. Man, does he always have a run game. Lane Kiffin always has a run game, guys. So when you're talking about, hey, you're going to have to make sure you're able to seal and block and showcase what you can do, you're going to have those opportunities. Caden Durham and all, you're going to have those opportunities at LSU this year with Lane Kiffin there. I want to see him get better because I truly believe this young man can be an absolute game changer at the tight end position. Because just like Kelce, just like some of the other guys we've seen come into the league that weren't the best blockers, Brock Bowers, I think I said it on here. Brock Bowers was never a good blocker. He gave you effort, though. But Brock is 240. Yeah, you want him against, hey, can we wrap you around and get to the outside shoulder of a unsuspecting linebacker and seal him? Okay, we can't. Great. Can we get you up on the safety and get you out there on the corner? Absolutely. Do I want Brock Bowers blocking defensive ends? And do I want him against Myles Garrett? No. Do I want him trying to block, dear God, do I want him against Jared Verse? No, I do not. I don't. I'm just going to be honest. Do I want him against Byron Murphy? Byron Young, I'm sorry. Byron Young. No, I don't. Like these power edges, no, keep him away from those guys, man. But can I get you on the perimeter? Yes. So I think it's the same thing with Trey'Dez. So again, it's not like it's a kiss of death to his career. It's just something that you need to see improve because it does limit. It takes away the disguise, right? Everything is about creating matchups. It's about disguising. It's about keeping the defense or your opponent, whether it's a defense, it's about keeping them on their heels and keeping them off balance and off schedule. And they don't really know what's coming. That's what it's about. And when you're only valuable as a pass catcher and you're very limited as a run blocker, it does kind of tip your hand and tip the scale in the hand of the defense where they know, hey, we're not running about the run. They got him out here. They're throwing it. Like, it just is what it is, right? So that's a big thing. That's a big thing that you have to think about. So those are the concerns, man. Strength at the point of attack, bulking up, going from 237. Can we get to the 248, maybe 250 and still be athletic? And then inline run blocking. That's going to be the big things for him because he's an outstanding receiver. We want to see the run blocking improve. But coming up next, guys, I'm going to talk about my grade. And I got a comp for you that I think you're going to enjoy. A former top 10 pick that's built kind of similar. We're going to talk about that coming up next. Thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen of the day. And thank you for making the Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network in America. It's all because of you, our everydayers. Guys, let's talk about it. Explain the grade for LSU star tight end Trey'Dez Green against 6'7", 237 pounds. With his pass catching ability, I know I talked a lot about the run concerns and the body type, a 237 and being an inline blocker. But I remember, what was this, two drafts ago? I believe it was, he went to the Rams. And I don't know how much he's going to play now. I wasn't that high on him and everything, but I think it was Terrence Ferguson, I believe was his name. And he went to the Rams in like the second round. Yes, Terrence Ferguson was 6'5", 247, ran a 4.63, things of that nature, right? But he wasn't a physical player. He wasn't a good run blocker, right? So him being a second round pick, if I remember that correctly, I think it was a second round pick for the Los Angeles Rams. Yeah, I for me, and I think that Trey'Dez has more ability than he does. I think he has more ability. I think he's a better player and a more toolsy player as well, and more skilled than Terrence Ferguson. So he went second. I have a late first round grade on Trey'Dez Green. I have a late first on him, like inside from like 20 to 32, somewhere in that range right now. I want to see the run blocking improve. I want to see him get stronger. Because here's the thing: after the catch, I talked about how he transitions from receiver to runner really quickly. It's not just that he's tough after the catch. He plays with good physicality. I'm talking about being able to run through arm tackles, cover the ball, lower his shoulders, drive his feet, and drive his legs to get yards after the catch. So it's not like he's some soft finesse player. Not at all. Like he has toughness to him. I just want to see him get stronger so that effort he plays with as a run blocker, because he gives you full effort. Now I want to see that effort maximized to where now you're getting the results that you want to get from that. That's kind of what I see, how I look at that just overall. But yeah, I got a late first round grade on LSU tight end Trey'Dez Green. And just some comps, man. I teased it. He reminds me of a former top 10 pick at the position. That's Kyle Pitts. But Kyle Pitts was like slightly short of 6'6", 6'5", 5'8", 245, so he was heavier. Wingspan, 83 3/8, 33.5 inch on the arms, right? He ran a 4.44. I don't know if he's going to run 4.44. I could see him running 4.5 for sure. Pitts coming out of Florida was just different, right? And if Keith was here, he'll tell you, like, he saw it firsthand. They put Derek Stingley on him. He whooped Derek Stingley a couple times. You know what I mean? Beating him one-on-one, right? An elite corner against a pass-catching tight end, and he's winning one-on-one. That's why they looked at him as the unicorn and why he went as high as he did. And I mean, to be honest with you, the Falcons, they stuck with it. They didn't give up on him, and now they just gave him a contract because he earned every bit of that. So I think about Kyle Pitts as a potential contract. Talking about body type as well. Think Darren Waller also 6'6". This one, he's a receiver, 6'6", 238 pounds, 33 and a quarter on the arm length. He ran a 4.46. He had a 37-inch vertical, right? So when you're talking about the height at 6'7", if Trey'Dez Green is a legit 6'7", he's already in like the 97 percentile at tight end, 97, 98 percentile per mock draftable at the tight end position. Now, the weight is going to be a different story, right? He's going to be probably close to that 40th percentile because you don't see tight ends at 235 in the NFL that's playing a ton of reps or is a number one tight end. So, again, if we can get you up to 248, 250, if I remember correctly, no, Colston Loveland. Let me see. I don't know if Mark Draftable has him in here. Okay, they do. Colston Loveland, 6'5", 3/4, 248, right? 248. I'm not sitting here saying, hey, man, you have to weigh, well, what is it, Darnell Washington? I'm not saying you got to sit here and beat Darnell Washington at 6'6", 6'7", 265, 270, 280, whatever it is. I don't need you to be another offensive lineman. No. But again, with his pass catching ability, if we could just bulk you up a little bit, help add some more strength and functional strength and grip strength and latch strength and all of that, improve the run blocking and the effectiveness and efficiency of it all, hey, we got a 3-down tight end that we can run the ball with on the field, and then we can absolutely like just dominate you in the passing game because he's a mismatch. He's a mismatch, an offensive weapon in that regard. That's, again, I go back to that South Carolina game and the Houston game too. Like, when he's on and they're feeding him the ball and he's rolling, he's hard to stop, guys. He is hard to stop. Like, Trey'Dez Green can absolutely take over a game. And I know that LSU has a ton of new wide receivers. Jace Brown from Kansas State. Oh, man. Jackson Harris transferring from Hawaii. Like, they got multiple guys coming over, right? They got multiple guys at the wide receiver position. I get it. I understand it. But I really hope Sam Levitt and Lane Kiffin dials up Trey'Dez Green's number. I really hope they do, because in my opinion, Trey'Dez Green should be a 1,000-yard receiving tight end, 10+ touchdowns. He had 7 touchdowns last year, less than 500 yards, right? With bad QB play. Garrett Nussmeier wasn't good. Bad offensive play calling, going to be completely honest with you. So that's why you go get a Lane Kiffin. So when I look at this young man, again, first-round pick, late first round, inside the 20s to the 30s, just right now, I think he can absolutely push himself up the board. Because Kyle Pitts went top 5, top 3. He was the 3rd pick in the draft when he was drafted, and he wasn't a good run blocker. Brock Bowers, again, top 15 pick. He was not a good run blocker at all. You know what I mean? So that's the thing, guys. It's as much as I'm harping on that, NFL teams still will take. I'm not like I want to say. I don't want to say a generation because, dear God, like that's the way people explain prospects. They will still take that mismatch weapon, that weapon at the tight end position. They will still take that and prosper. Like we'll figure out how to get you working in the run game, right? We'll motion you to the weak side and run, and back weak side. Fake to the strong, like reset the strong side, make the defense shift, and run back weak side. We'll figure it out. we need to figure it out just right now. But again, guys, I'm excited for him. As you can tell, the excitement in my voice. I love what he brings as a pass catcher. I can't wait to see him in this Lane Kiffin offense. I think the sky is the limit for Trey'Dez Green. But guys, that's the show of me breaking down LSU. Just athletic, freakish tight end Trey'Dez Green, explaining my grade and give you some NFL comps, body types, things of that nature. Talk about the concerns a little bit earlier, and then, of course, we open the show up talking about the pros and what he brings to the table overall. As always, go subscribe and follow for free on YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts, to get the latest episode as soon as it is available. Guys, on tomorrow's show, we're going to talk about Jamari Johnson, the Oregon tight end. We're going to break down his game on tomorrow's show as well. So come and join the conversation again tomorrow on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.